Welcome to Antisocial Commentary. I'm Chris. This is Tori.
Hello.
And this is your first time back on the podcast in a while.
It has been a while.
Still in quarantine. Someone's not staying at home.
No, we are not social distancing right now. But it's National Siblings Day, so, you know.
Yeah, you had to see your sibling. Allegedly we're related. I don't know how true that is, but we'll find out later in life.
Well, happy National Siblings Day to all of you siblings. If you don't have a sibling, I feel sorry for you.
I don't. As someone that was an only child before, and then you ended up with a sibling, so it's always better.
And I'm offended, because every time you have these podcasts, you'd be like, Mia, my favorite person in the world, and I'm like, am I a joke to you?
Well, I mean, you know, it's nothing wrong with being my second favorite person in the world. Maybe third, because, you know, grandparents.
Grandma. Wait, hold
Father.
on. Bailey, Riley, the guy you deliver to every now and then, he's cool, and then maybe Charles, and then me.
Exactly. So it's like, it's nothing wrong. It's like, if out of the entire world, there's 6 billion people in the entire world, or 7 billion, whatever number we're at. With Corona, it's probably down to like 3 billion.
Damn.
With all that many people in the world, being like number 19 is not really that bad when you think about it.
19. I don't even know 19 people.
Oh, damn.
I don't think.
Huh?
At least I don't think.
Well, on the last podcast, I had made a mention that we were going to discuss All-American because that's what we've been watching in quarantine. But Mia's not here, and I'm pretty sure you haven't watched the show in a long time. So
yeah, I was watching it while it aired on TV.
No, well,
everybody else caught it on Netflix. I was the original.
Yeah,
okay.
no.
Season 1, I was watching it on TV. Season 2, I was watching it on TV.
Who's wasting their time watching stuff on TV when you could be just wait for it to come on Netflix and just binge it?
Well, whatever. I was watching it on TV, and I was like, this is a good show, and I'm going to continue to watch it. And then when it was on Netflix, everybody was like, yo, this show. And I'm like, I'm glad I wasn't... Because I'm usually late to the shows, like the hype of the shows. Like, still haven't watched Breaking Bad. I was late to Game of Thrones. Like, I'm late to all of the shows, all the hype. So I'm glad I was able to catch on to this in the beginning.
Well, so yeah, I don't know if you want to really go do a deep dive into it.
Really would be wrong to do it without me.
Yeah, well, so I mean, so what have you been quarantining? What have you binged since quarantine? You finally finished Tiger King. What you think?
I watched that episode you did.
Mm-hmm.
Was it yesterday? You posted it yesterday, the day before with Tiger King.
Something like that.
I definitely agree with what you said before. That is definitely a little too long.
Too long, right?
I think it could have been like 5 episodes.
Maybe not even like 4. Like shit, just condense the damn story.
I would have been okay if it was like a 3-part miniseries, but the episodes were like 2 hours long or something like that. Like I'd have been fine with that instead of having it be drawn out.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, the fact that only Joe Exotic is come to justice is a problem for me. I don't really agree with the whole animal captivity thing, especially for what they were trying to do. I agree with the whole, preservation of wildlife and species and everything like that. I'm okay with that part. But there was a part, I don't remember what episode it was honestly, but there was a part where he had tiger cubs, and the tiger cubs were literally like 6 days old, and they were like 6 days old. Like that's like taking a newborn out of the hospital.
Yeah, not really, but keep going.
But it is though.
No, these are tigers, not humans. But keep going.
But it doesn't matter. Like you don't need to rip that baby away from their mom so quickly. Like that's an issue, especially just for some like that's a problem for me. Then I didn't like Doc.
Yeah.
Not Don. Sorry, Doc Andel. Didn't like him, and I didn't like what was the guy's name at the end that took over the hospital, zoo. Jeff.
Oh yeah.
Jeff something.
Jeff
Lowe or something like that.
Something like that. I can't remember. The dude that I saw a meme. It was like he looks like he has his kids take pictures with the waitresses from Hooters. I was like, you know what? He does look like that type of guy.
Well, I didn't like him because first of all, you stole a zoo. First of all,
you did steal a zoo.
Even though it was already like not a good zoo to begin with, but you still stole a zoo.
Stole a zoo.
Not only that, but there was a scene at the end where his wife was pregnant, and she was like, "Yeah, our daughter's name is about to be this, and as soon as she gives birth, her ass is about to be back in the gym." I was like, really disrespectful.
I don't remember that. What happened?
It was like maybe the last episode or the second to last episode, but he was like, my wife is pregnant, she's getting ready to have a baby, and we're naming her like Sarah something or another. And he was like, as soon as my wife gives birth, she's getting back into the gym, and the wife just kind of laughs like, ha ha ha. I'm like, really? And then not only that, but he in that same scene, he was like, we're hiring a nanny, and it was like this really beautiful, boobs out.
Oh yeah, I remember that part.
And the wife was like, we're hiring this nanny, and the guy, Jeff or whoever the fuck his name was, he was like, yeah, well, I told her if we want to hire a nanny, I'm gonna be the one. Like, she has to be good to look at.
But that was
like,
that was
dude,
his
you're
whole
about
thing.
to cheat on her with this woman. Like,
yeah, but that was their relationship. You remember that when they were talking about how they basically had like a open like relationship.
Yeah, but that's still like, no, I don't agree.
I mean,
like,
that's still
like that.
I don't agree for that for my life, but that's their life, so I'm not going to say that they're wrong. I personally wouldn't do it. Like, it just not for me. But I didn't have an issue with that because that was what they liked that.
I didn't like it, and then Doc had all these women dressed up, and they were only getting paid. Everybody was only getting paid, not just for Doc's ladies, but like
everybody wouldn't. I mean, but at the end, it's a zoo. I mean how much money is it really gonna make? Because you got
$100 a week.
The most money you get. The most money you're gonna spend is feeding these damn animals. So payroll, like
Jesus, it's just a lot. I was just like, this show is insane. But apparently, there's supposed to be another episode or two coming out.
Yeah, it's supposed to come out like this week, and I don't know.
We'll see. But I mean, I think it was definitely well done. I think the director, and the creator of the documentary, I think he did a good job. I always appreciate documentarians.
Yeah.
Saying that right?
Well, that's the issue with documentaries, though. If whoever the documentarian, how they feel about it, that's the way they're gonna spin the story.
Right.
So we obviously the documentarian wanted us to believe that Carol killed her husband because we all ran with Carol killing her husband. It must suck to be her right now. All jokes aside, because let's just say she didn't kill her husband, but everybody's saying it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then let's say she did kill her husband. It's like,
well, everybody still knows.
Now it's like now I gotta go and so it's like you probably shouldn't have did the doc. If I was Carol shouldn't have did the doc. But it's clear that she did the doc not knowing what they were actually gonna make. But Doc Bhagavan Antle, he said the same thing. He said they came to me and they asked like 90 questions and they were all about the animals. And like of those 90 questions, 5 were about Joe Exotic. And those 5 questions were the ones that they showed on the doc. Mm-hmm. So it's like it's clear that the documentarians they weren't making this for the right reasons. They were just trying to exploit these people. It's very clear. And trying to make a story like the Carol Baskin killed her husband. Joe being like that's not even Joe singing those songs. Mm-hmm. Joe didn't make the music.
Some of that music was pretty good though.
It was actually pretty fire.
I was like, wait a minute, hold on. This is actually I have to download this.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, but that's not really Joe making the music. It's just a bunch of stuff like wasn't true, but that's what like this documentary I take is like kind of like the Kardashians. Like, yeah, what's happening is real, but they're staging everything. You know what I mean? So it's like
except for that past fight, that probably was
that past. Oh, the Kardashian. That was the most struggle fight. If y'all were faking that fight, y'all really should have. Y'all could have edited that one a little better. Y'all should have choreographed that a little bit better. That was the most struggle shit I ever seen in my life.
Somebody on Twitter was like, "Courtney to be slapping her kids, and not Kim because her kids be out of line." And I'm
Real
like,
talk.
Wow.
Your kids is bad.
Wow.
Stop feeding them.
Stop feeding them.
No, I was saying stop feeding them. Whatever that bullshit you be feeding them, and give them sugar. Maybe it might. Fix them.
Very healthy.
The only kids I ever seen never had sugar in their life be bouncing off the fucking walls. I don't get it.
I mean, listen. I don't really watch the Kardashian show like most people, so I can't really.
I really don't be watching it. Me, it'd be on.
Well, you be watching that show nonstop.
All jokes aside, I haven't watched it in a solid like 2 or 3 years. It got the drama just got too much for me. But continue.
But no, you were asking what other stuff have I been during this quarantine. I'm not really quarantining because I'm still going to work. But
me too. We're expendable. I mean, essential workers.
Essential. You're welcome.
Exactly.
Fetch
me another drink.
I finished Lock and Key, the show of Lock and Key.
Never heard of it.
Charles told me to watch it, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch it. And
must be whack.
Wow. You hear that, Charles? The disrespect. But no, that's a good show. I watched that, and I think that's it actually.
Damn.
That might be the only thing. I usually do watch a lot of TV, but lately I've just been trying to catch up on the movies that I missed.
No,
so
well.
I watched Knives Out, you know.
Oh yeah, love Knives Out. That was a good movie. Y'all need to watch wrestling. I need more people in my life to watch wrestling because WrestleMania just happened and it was actually pretty goddamn good.
Listen, man, if it's not 2004, I'm not watching it.
2004 wrestling was trash.
Well, whatever. Or whenever it was, whenever all of my Goldbergs and my Chynas and The Rock, whenever they were there.
That was like 2000,
okay,
99.
well, if it's not that year, I'm not watching it.
But it was good. Like, WrestleMania was really good. Like, because they did so much with so little. And I really liked it. There was not much on there I didn't like. So.
You're at WrestleMania, you have a fan.
Yeah,
true, honest
wrestling was good. I really, honestly, I cut it on expecting to be hot garbage.
Y'all just fight each other down here.
Oh yeah, you can't see on camera, but we got the dogs under the bed. I mean, under the table. Yeah, I expected to be hot garbage because they were saying like so much they weren't able to do, and it was so good. I was like, wow, y'all really knocked it out of the park. So, but that's the thing. When it comes to entertainment. That's how you can tell who's really good at what they do versus who is just kind of like, oh, we're going to hide behind things. If you can put on a good TV show, play, movie, do good stand-up with the bare essentials, then you have actual talent.
Okay.
If you are Michael Bay and your movies are hot ass, but 90% of them are things blowing up or cars going fast or boobs, then you might not be that good at what you do. Now, that being said, I think Michael Bay is good at what he does. That does not mean he makes what he makes is going to make a good product in comparison to other things. But Michael Bay has a niche, and he's good at that. Like, you do this. If I want to see things blow up, do that. Mm-hmm. If I want to see a story, I'm not asking you for that.
I mean, there's just
the last Transformer was hot garbage.
There's certain
last
things
two.
Like just how like there's certain people that you can talk to about certain things. There's certain people that you look at when you're like, I'm trying to watch a good movie, and it's like, well, I'm not about to go watch a Michael Bay movie if I'm wanting like a good hard hitting type of story.
First of all, the first three Transformers were premium cinema.
You're right. You know what? Like. Honestly, those three movies were pretty good. Just like the first three Pirates of the Caribbean movies are great.
Great movies. Like, say what you want about Michael Bay in the Transformers films, but Transformers, the first three are solid. It's solid cinema. Mm-hmm. Like, and again, I always say this because those movies came out at a point in time in my life where the first one came out the summer before my junior year of high school, which was my favorite year of high school. The second one came out the summer after my senior year, so that's the funnest summer you ever have. And then the third one came out when I was in college. So these are all fun times. So I could be looking at it with a different worldview than most, but
just like
solid movies.
Just like when Twilight came out, they came out during I was in like 7th and 8th grade. I was in like 7th, 8th grade. And that was like, your typical tween time. Like, that was the perfect time for a tween girl of my age to see something like that. Going to the movies to see Breaking Dawn, and all of a sudden Carlisle's head is taken off, spoiler alert, and everyone's in theater freaking out. Like, that was it. Like you said, important time in your life, important time in my life. I mean, those movies are not good. Robert Pattinson's the only thing that kept those movies good, let's be honest. But, like, that was an important time.
So
this is the end of the episode.
Yeah. So I'm glad y'all. This is the last time y'all we'll be seeing Tori.
What do you mean? We share the same YouTube page.
You cannot talk about fucking Twilight and expect that I won't just end your life. Like I don't promote violence against women. But there's certain circumstances.
Sometimes they need a good smack.
I mean, Jesus Christ.
It's 2020, okay? That is nothing to joke about.
Yeah. But
it's a quarantine right now.
See, that's the thing. With quarantine, we can do whatever we want. We can let the F word fly.
What does that have to do with anything?
Who's really complaining about stuff? Like, you find if you can go on YouTube and find a little podcast to complain about, you just have nothing else to do, obviously, because when it comes to quarantine, we got bigger fish to fry. We don't know if we walk outside, we're gonna catch the Rona and die, or I could just lose plenty of like friends and family. We're not gonna have jobs, and y'all worry about me saying the F word. I'm bringing the F word back, but not against homosexuals. I don't think that's okay. I think it's okay to use when you're talking about somebody that's doing something that's you don't like.
Where did this conversation turn?
I don't know. But the F word, I wouldn't just use it liberally. I just feel like the F word used to be such a good word to get to the point you're trying to make. Now we don't have a word. And I'm not advocating the F word. I want to make that very clear. What I'm saying is we don't have a word that's as powerful as the F word. We need to find a word. I'm okay with getting rid of the F word if we can find a replacement word. We need a word that cuts as deep as the F word. There's no other word.
Well, I think we should spend the last few minutes talking about siblings.
Why?
Because it's National Siblings Day. We got to bring this conversation
away from. But can we find a word that cuts as deep as the B word for a woman, probably, or a C word actually is probably. I think the C word is worse than the B word.
Probably.
And I mean, obviously I'm a man. I can't really say, but y'all use the B word liberally around amongst each other.
This is true.
If one of your girlfriends said the C word, it'd be like, all right. Like that word cuts way deeper, but we don't have another word.
Yeah.
We need a word. We need equality. Anyway, continue.
We need equality for words.
All right, siblings. You want to tell your favorite sibling story?
Do I have one?
I mean, I have a pretty funny story. It involves a piece of homework, a candle, and a burning chair.
No. That's not a favorite one because you beat me up afterwards instead of, putting the fire out.
Hey, I knew I was going to get in trouble, so I needed to take my frustration out on somebody.
First of all, you beat me up on the floor, and then there was a whole fire going on in the house.
That was the first time in my life that I didn't get in trouble for something you did.
But it doesn't matter. The point is that you were beating me up, and there was a whole fire in our house.
I was like 12. I didn't know the house could catch on fire. All right. What I did know is in this moment I'm pissed off because you weren't listening.
Well.
So, spoiler. All right, so there was a candle, a piece of homework, and Tori was putting her homework in the candle and blowing the fire out. Multiple times I said, Tori, you shouldn't do that. That's a bad idea. And then eventually the paper she was burning lit up. That paper, she couldn't blow it out, so she drops the paper. The first thing I said was, don't drop the paper. Hurry, and I was trying to get you to take it to the sink, I think. I don't remember necessarily.
I think you're trying to get me to grab. There was like a cup of water on the table.
Okay, well, I don't remember exactly, but the one thing I was saying was, do not drop it. That was the thing that I, like, if you burn your hand at this point, it's your fault. I was like, do not drop it. First thing she did was drop it. So,
chair catches on fire.
The chair catches on fire.
The dining room table chair, not like a bullshit chair. It was a dining room table that, at the time, our mother was still alive, and she was not very happy about it. But,
no. And I might be getting the story mixed up, but I'm pretty sure it was still a relatively new table. Like probably not even a year old.
Those chairs and stuff are still in the house.
Yeah.
Mommy put like a little like a fabric on it to cover it up.
Yeah. Anyway, so the chair caught on fire, so I had to stomp Tori out instead of stomping out the fire. And luckily, our mother came in and put the fire out. So that's one of my favorite sibling story. We don't have time for your sibling story.
Clearly not. So I mean,
so
honestly,
you want to say
it's been a great time. It has been great serving with you.
Yeah.
We've been in this. You'll be 30. I'll be 25. It's been a good.
Yeah. Well, that was Antisocial Commentary. I'm Chris. This is Tori. And yeah, that was peace.
Subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, well,
watch my videos too.
I mean, why waste your time with Tori when you can waste your time doing life?